so bad, I want to give you a 0, but that's not possible. So I give you a 1.
Hey girlies, welcome back to the channel. So excited to be back. I just got a new mic and I feel like Radio Rebel. Like, even if you can't tell the difference in quality, I encourage you to lie to me in the comments and tell me you notice a difference. Thank you. So today, as the title says, I will be giving my honest thoughts on the Gossip Girl reboot characters. I finished season 1 like about a month ago, so I figured it would make sense to make this video now after all of my thoughts are in order. If you want to know my initial thoughts on the series, check out the video I made on the pilot. It will be linked above. So if I speak poorly about one of your favorite characters, which will most likely happen because the characters are mostly unlikable, don't take it seriously. This is a TV show and it's simply my opinion, and the beauty of an opinion is that you don't have to share the same one as me. So another disclaimer, we will be hitting on topics of SA and grooming, so just a heads up. And also, of course, this is implied spoilers on season 1 of the Gossip Girl reboot.
They just pick on us because they can, because no one says not to.
Starting off with the teachers, we have Jordan Glassberg. I literally didn't know this man's name throughout the whole series. As I'm making this video, it is me discovering that his name is Jordan. He annoyed me the instant he stepped into the frame. He was like an annoying, pestering mouse that just wouldn't go away. He was obsessed with Kate. Kate didn't want him, and he was just not getting the memo. And that's all I have to say on him. He's weird. He's strange. Bad vibes.
Inherited power and influence the minute they were born without any examples of how not to abuse it?
Moving on to the woman of the hour, we have Kate Keller. Can't stand her. Words can't describe how delusional her mind is. You are tormenting literal teenagers online in hopes of somehow making them better and kinder people. I'm still trying to figure out the logic that is behind that. Also, the whole narrative with the writers were trying to push that they need Gossip Girl because Gossip Girl helps them have like hard conversations. What were y'all doing before Gossip Girl? Like, the people in the show, you were still alive, you were still functioning, you know, the kids were thriving, and they were doing the same thing they were doing before. Like, no one has changed in a positive way due to Gossip Girl. And they're still gonna lie, they're still gonna cheat, and they're gonna steal. It doesn't matter if Gossip Girl is there or not. But I do think that my favorite moment this entire season was watching Miss Keller, Kate, get dragged to hell and back by Monet's mom.
You all allowed Gossip Girl to taunt and torment them. Not only did you do nothing about it, but some of you even sent in tips yourselves. Tips on kids you were in charge of.
What a joyous occasion that was. That brought me so much happiness. My final point on her, besides that she's like a loser who needs a life, is that she also needs to stay out of Black people's business. She does. I cannot stand the fact that she tried to make Zoya's dad feel bad for accepting money from Julian's dad. For context, Julian's dad gets canceled for reasons I'll elaborate on a little bit later, and Zoya's dad kindly offers to take Julian in so she doesn't have to move states and live with family that she isn't really that close to. And to help pay for Julian and Julian's tuition and taking care of Julian, he accepts the money from Julian's dad. Even though he's a sucky person, he still takes the money. And the way that Kate was getting onto Zoya's dad for accepting the money was just rubbing me the wrong way.
Zoya deserves a dad who lives by an example he'd want her to follow.
None of this is right. It's where I am right now.
Like, you're a white woman with no kids, and he's a Black man who now has to take care of 2 teenagers who go to a super expensive school. You don't get to judge him for taking care of his family. I can make a whole video on how much I hate Kate Keller, but I won't do that. We have other characters to talk about.
This school has always been a breeding ground for the worst kinds of people.
You need a lot of help psychologically, and that's basically just my thesis on Rafa. Like, first, he hooks up with a high schooler, Max, and then when said student wants to break things off, he begins spreading rumors about them having STDs all over Gossip Girl.
You're different than them. You aren't a conquest. You're a fellow conquistador.
Consider me colonized and move on.
You thought he was in. You thought that was the rest of it. No, he's not. When Max confronts Rafa about like the false rumors, Rafa then proceeds to continue to spread rumors until Max comes back to him. And when Max doesn't come back to him, he then messages Max's dad on the dating app in order to hurt Max. Like, did you guys get that? Like, let's really sit and reflect on that behavior. He's insane. I'm tired of speaking about this man. Put him in jail. We're moving on.
I don't mind losing everything if I deserve it, but I can't lose you.
Terrible men is just like a theme within the show. There are very few men in the show who aren't disgusting. I really don't even want to dwell on his storyline. I really don't. I absolutely hated this plot line because it just felt very rushed and very thrown together last minute. For those of you who don't know, Julian's dad is a major Grammy Award winning producer who in the show gets accused of tampering with his female artist drinks and basically taking advantage of them. We as viewers come to find out he did it to more than one woman. My issue with this storyline is I feel like the writers just put it in because it was like irrelevant and like hot topic today without really like thinking through if the subject is being talked about in a respectful way, if it's like really being impactful on its viewers. They just threw it in there. It just should have been more carefully intertwined in the show given how serious this matter is within real life and how prevalent it is today. They just threw it in just to have drama when this isn't really a storyline that needs to be thrown in for drama. Like, they should have thought about it more.
Relationships, they're just Ponzi schemes that we repeatedly run on each other that only end in pain and ruin. I mean,
Poor, sweet Max. He was going through it. There was not an episode where Max is not in turmoil, where he is not stressed. When the show starts, the second it starts, he's already popping several pills to get through the day.
I am more of a medical procedural kind of guy. 2 Addies got me through calc and a benzo.
Which I definitely feel is something that his quote-unquote friends should have touched on. But Max's friends don't really seem to recognize when his life is falling apart until it's too late. And that's a very common theme throughout the show. And it's just swept under the rug. They're like, Max is just popping a Xanax. Like, this is just what Max does. And I'm like, all right. Max was being taken advantage of by a teacher who I touched on, Rafa. Now, here comes some of y'all saying Max was 18 and Max pursued him first. That doesn't matter to me. You don't know why? It's because Rafa is a teacher and Max is a student. And do I think Max was old enough to not actively pursue his teacher? Yes. I do think that he was old enough to know that, hey, maybe this isn't the best thing ever. But at the end of the day, Rafa should have held his ground, and Rafa is the older adult in this situation, and Rafa has power, and so he should have had the power to say no and to stop it, and he didn't. And meanwhile, while all of this crap with Rafa's going on, Max finds out that his dad is cheating on his other dad through seeing him on a dating app. At the pinnacle, at the height of his like stress and turmoil after finding out that his dad is cheating on his other dad, Max gets very high and he's very distraught, and he outs that his dad is cheating on his other dad, and he also outs basically all of his other friends' dirty laundry because everyone just piles on Max and he knows all these secrets and he's just stressed and he just tells everyone everything. It's quite the mess.
you fucked me and you wanted to. Guys, come on. It is time that we all stopped hiding and started being who we really are, right? Right?
Very entertaining scene. However, it is just quite the mess. And I feel so bad for him because one thing about Max is that he'll always be there to help solve other people's problems. Like, he's constantly running around trying to help Audrey and help Aki. However, at the end of the day, no one is checking on Max until he's literally having a breakdown. His friends need to step up. And like towards the end, they kind of do, but like it shouldn't have taken that long for them to step up for him. So he deserves better, and he deserves to have a healthy outlet that isn't sex or drugs. And Max needed to be in therapy eons ago.
My world is not your world. My experience is not your experience. And I wish you understood that.
I really don't have that much to say on Aki as there wasn't that much material on him, but I wish Aki the best in life. He really grew a lot this season and I'm so proud of him. Like, he was really confused in the beginning about just who he was and trying to figure out his sexuality, and towards the end he does. We love a Viking, and I don't know, I'm just ready to throw hands because my boy Aki, he was constantly being outed. Like, if there was one thing about Aki, is that he was going to be outed by other people throughout the show. I'm sorry, it's not funny, but like when I'm thinking about it, it's like he got outed like 3 times. I think it's Max outs him, you know, when he's like high and like, you know, going through stuff. He basically outs that Aki is on a gay dating app. Then Audrey accidentally outs him to his family.
You know, you can be a little bit more sensitive, okay? You never know how someone at the table identifies.
Akano?
Then his little dad outs him. His dad is like this really crappy, he is the head of a media company, of this like right-leaning media company. And so basically, to prove that the dad isn't homophobic, he outs Aki to the literal world. The world now knows that Aki is bi, when he literally had just figured out for himself, was not ready to tell people, and he's being outed left and right.
How could I or my company be accused of being homophobic when my own son, Aki here, is gay himself?
No, I'm not gay, I'm bisexual.
Aki also needs better friends than Obie. He needs a better best friend than Obie, because I absolutely hated the way Obie handled the situation when Aki got outed, but we will discuss Obie later.
That's what you're upset about? I thought it was the gay thing.
The gay thing?
The bi thing, man. I'm sorry.
I do love Aki's mom, though. She seems really sweet and really cool, and I just want Aki to be happy because he didn't do anything wrong. Like, throughout the show, he was constantly just doing the right thing, trying to help people, trying to be the peacemaker. And I relate to Aki. I do. He's chill, he's there. I do want to know more about him, and in season 2, I'd love to know more about his hobbies, like his love for film.
You're all id all the time, and honestly, my ego is just exhausted.
If you remember from my first video, I said that I didn't really like Audrey. Having watched all the first season, I can't say I necessarily like her, but I also don't dislike her. Audrey goes through a lot this season with having to take care of her mother, who struggles with, I believe it's depression. One thing that I admire how fiercely loyal she is with the people she cares about. So we watch as she takes care of her mom relentlessly, making sure that her treatment plan is on track with the doctors. She's fiercely loyal to Julien as well, which is refreshing since Monet and Luna are more kind of like a management to Julien than actual friends a lot of the time. And so it's nice that Julien at least has Audrey in her corner. And so one thing though is that when you strip Audrey away from her friends in her relationships, like to just herself, we as viewers still know absolutely nothing about her. I know very little about her personality besides the fact that she likes to read. I don't know that girl. So she's still very kind of just like, as a person, her personality is just kind of boring to me. I will give her this, that after Monet, she has my favorite fashion moments throughout the show. I love her style.
Vulnerability is the disease of the masses, right? You're royalty.
You guys know I love a mean girl, especially when she's black. I made a whole video on Monet and Luna. I am a Monet stan, but I must admit Monet did disappoint me a little this season in a way that I didn't expect. You guys are shocked, like I know. So as fabulous as Monet and Luna are, they're vicious. They're vicious, and I can come to terms with that. You know, I've seen the original Gossip Girl, like I know what I'm signing up for. I feel like a lot of people went into the show and they were surprised at how mean Monet and Luna are, but it's like, no, they still have not touched Blair Waldorf level of insane. Like they still have not done that yet. At the end of the day, I just don't think I loved Monet's arc this season. I still love Monet, I just think that I'm a little bit disappointed in her. Like from the beginning of the show, Monet and Luna were Julien's ride or dies. They always kept it like 100% with her. Even when they didn't always agree with her, even though they were like on her business side. So they would talk crap, you know, but at the end of the day, they would always have Julien's back. And they were loyal, and I respected that. I really respect their loyalty. Or so I thought. Monet goes rogue. She goes a little bit rogue.
You sold us out. You sold yourself out when you got mired in your sister's shit.
I didn't love her betrayal to Julien. I don't know, especially not telling Luna about it. In the last episode of the season, we watch as Monet comes to terms with the fact that she wants to be the new it girl instead of Julien. And I definitely think that Monet, of course, has the money and the wardrobe and like the looks to be the new Queen Bee of Constance. But I do have to say, I'm interested in seeing how she'll fare as an influencer. Because influencers who base their lives on like themselves, like they are their brand, it's typically you have to be nice / likable, or at least being good at faking being nice or likable. I love that girl, but I do not know if she has a kind bone, like a genuinely kind bone in her body. I think if she were to be an influencer, it should be focused on her fashion or makeup and less of just like her as a person. Unless, who knows, maybe she can like fake being nice to people online. We'll see. But yeah, very intrigued by what she'll do in season 2.
You want me to murder my sister?
Only socially, which is much worse.
I really like Luna's character and the person she is. All the love I have for Monet, I have for Luna as well. So although Luna is ruthless, I think the writers did a good job at showing her kindness and kind of her soft side. I love that she like stuck by Julien back when, you know, Julien deserved it. We'll touch on that later. Instead of being like shady, you know, she didn't really go rogue like Monet, and she actually like stood up to Monet when she disagreed with her actions.
Monet de Haan, I knew how low you could go, but this is even further.
I only stoop to conquer.
Also, I really appreciate the friendship dynamic that her and Max have.
What am I doing here?
I am in crisis.
We all are. The accusation's insane.
What? Oh, no, not about Julien.
It's an underrated one, and I feel like it's genuine, and I hope that in the coming season we get more of Max and Luna moments, because I don't know, they're cute.
I'm influential. It takes a lot of work to matter like that, to become something.
Woman of the hour, Julien. So, you guys, I really wanted to like Julien. I was fighting to like Julien, but she was really trying me, and by the end of the season, I couldn't do it. Julien faced the same issues that Serena van der Woodsen did in the original, in that she would make mistakes, apologize, and immediately make the same mistakes over and over again. And at a point, it just gets tiring. Like, do you not know how to learn a lesson? Like, Julien did not deserve Zoya and Zoya's forgiveness time and time again. That's just my opinion.
And I'm not your friend, I'm your sister. And as your sister, I'm telling you, holding yourself accountable instead of letting Gossip Girl and the rest of the world do it could be the best thing to ever happen to you.
And it's the way that Julien bent over backwards. She swore up and down that it was okay that her ex Obie was with her half-sister Zoya, only for Julien to hook up with him behind Zoya's back. Like, girl, it's messy, and it's not a fun messy. It's just, in Julien's case, it's just like a yikes kind of messy. And Obie, really? Obie, that's all I really have to say on Julien. I'll touch on her a little bit later in my final thoughts, but I don't know, that's just all I have to say on her.
Don't worry, this isn't weird at all for me either.
Can't stand him. I told y'all in my video on the pilot that I didn't like him and I found him annoying, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Some of you are telling me to give him a chance, and you almost had me feeling bad for him. But as it turned out, I should have been meaner to him because he deserves it. I'm so baffled by how someone as gorgeous as Zoya, people as gorgeous as Zoya and Julien, were fighting over him. I'm just saying that Aki was right there. If we're just going just strictly on appearance, Aki was right there. Max was right there. But mostly Aki was right there.
Exhibit A&A. Break up your best friend's relationship and run off with her man.
Aki's numbers have been going up.
Anyways, moving on. Obie's personality irks me because he tries so hard to be portrayed as the quote-unquote nice guy.
I mean, if 1/10 of these people donated the price of one drink to a charity of their choice.
You know, he's not like the other snotty Upper East Siders. He delivers donuts to marginalized communities, which go off, I guess. It's more than his friends are doing. My take on Obie's character, and probably what I dislike the most about him, is that almost everything he does is motivated by guilt. And so in result, so much of what he does is him trying to make up for his positionality in society. Like, he feels guilt about being rich and white. Meanwhile, his parents are actively like gentrifying marginalized neighborhoods in New York. And so he rebels. His method of rebelling is pissing his parents off through like volunteering and like dating a girl who he knows his mom will hate. And I just don't feel like that is a good enough reason to be dating Zoya. His guilt was a big motivator in him dating Zoya. Like, the only reason he really initially liked her is because of her activism and how she spoke up about her beliefs and how different and removed she was from the Upper East Side. And she aligned more with the people he was quote unquote trying to help, you know, by making himself feel better. And yeah, if a nice girl like Zoya can date him, well, he must be a good person, right? Wrong. No. Because all season, we watch as he constantly hurts the people closest to him. A few things that come to mind: he cheated on Zoya with Julien. Obie and Julien literally make out at a protest while people are getting tear gassed and assaulted by the police, but you know, moving on. After that, he actively avoids Zoya, which of course she notices, and you know, she's not an idiot. And instead of telling her the truth, he lies and tells her that he loves her.
I don't...
Obie, what do you feel about me?
Feel about you? I love you.
because that is a sound choice of action. He lies and tells her that he loves her instead of being honest with her. I could go on and on about how much I dislike Obie. I'm sure you can already tell, but I'll leave it at that for now.
What are you doing, man? I have no problem with you being, you know, being...
You can say it, can't you?
I don't have a problem with your sexuality. What I do have a problem with is you thinking that I do.
And I'm also an outsider here, no matter how much you want to pretend that that isn't true.
I like Zoya, I do. Was she a little naive at times? 100%. But she really didn't know what she was getting herself into with this new crowd. I think that for a newcomer into the Upper East Side, she held her own fairly well in the end. There was a point where she let Luna give her an Upper East Side makeover, but that lasted all of 2 seconds before she reverted back to her Brooklyn self, which, love that for her. I am so glad at the end of the day, though, she realized that Julian's friends were not her friends. Like, I would get so annoyed at Julian when she would try and force a friendship between her friends and Zoya when it was clear that no one from Julian's side wanted to hang out with Zoya.
Everyone wants you there anyway, so, right, Audrey? Audrey.
Of course, it's my dream.
And so at the end of the day, Zoya got out of the clutches of that terrible white man, Obie, and she was able to make her own black friends at the school, which is really all I could have wished for her. What she deserves. Love that for her.
Reminder, it is Fashion Week, so acquit her accordingly.
Discussing the season 1 ending, I want to address Julian's cringy monologue at the end of season 1 because I'm confused. It's the fact that she thought she did something with that monologue, but it made 0 sense to me.
Well, you go hard till there's nothing left. I make it my mission to stop you before you ruin us all.
So she's gonna secretly work with Gossip Girl to tell her all of her friends' secrets, then stop Gossip Girl from ruining her friends' lives before Gossip Girl has a chance to expose her secrets. I have no idea what she meant by that. And if you know what she meant by that, please comment down below because I'm like, girl, what? Yeah, thank you all for joining me in my rant. If you stay till the end, you're a real one. I would love to know your thoughts on the characters. If you agree, if you disagree, I want to know them all. Stay safe out there. Subscribe. Definitely subscribe. Yeah, and so bye for now. You know you love me. XOXO.